I'm gonna do a comb over cut, and he has his hair, it's like disconnected. This is real long and this is real short. They don't blend at all. So I'm gonna have to blend that later. And I'm gonna give him a 1 on the sides and fade out the back. I started when I was 12, and I taught myself from there, and just took little tips and here and there from like YouTube videos, or sometimes I would go and watch other barbers to learn what you have to do. And it's really good to watch yourself, take pictures of your work, and then go back and look at it and be like, oh, there's a line there, I could have fixed that, or I wanted to arch this a little bit more, or whatever the case may be. And but also looking at other people's work too, because you could look at it and be like, oh, I want to do it this way. Like he did that, and that's real nice right there, but I would have done it another way. To get better at clipper cutting, you're just gonna have to like really immerse yourself in clipper cutting. Osters, 76ers, really powerful motor on them, so they take the hair off really easily. And I'm just gonna go about this high, and then come up a little bit, and then go down like under his occipital bone area, and then come up and do the same thing on the other side. So for you guys that didn't see, it's like right here. A couple of you guys have been asking me about, you know, how I move so fast, or just it flows easier. It's just experience. I've just been doing it so long. It's natural, it's like muscle memory. I have 2 sets of clippers for lining. This is my good one, the silver one, and this is these are ProMate. It's like air on the thing, so I clean my clippers. It's just that's why they're dirty. These ones are decent, but they don't cut as quickly. Like I can just touch the hair, and all the hair in the way is gonna be gone. This one I have to like touch it, tap it a couple times, get it right, hit it with the corners. So this is more for like the sensitive areas, like the back of the neck. This is real sensitive, and if the person wanted you to go across here, that's a pretty sensitive area. And then if he had a beard, under the neck and stuff, that's really sensitive, and just over the ear. So I would use these for that, but I've actually developed a pretty light touch with these, so I pretty much use these for everything unless they get too hot. And that's why you want to work on your speed, because your clipper's going to get hot, and they're going to start burning your hands, and they're going to start burning the clients. So that's what that looks like. And then most men want the back faded out, so this is how you do that. Take your better balding clippers. These are the Andes outliners with a regular blade on them. Some of them have the T-blade. Some of them, I don't know, just got different stuff. And then just to create the smoothest blend that I can get, I'm going to use my lesser quality liners and create a small little layer with that. And you may not be able to see it, but I am trying to pull away from the head when I get to the top of the stroke or whatever. So. And then I take these. Mine are red because they're the 90th anniversary ones, but they're usually going to be all silver. These are the Andes Masters. These are the ones I recommend you guys can get, because I usually close these all the way down to the bottom, and that is a perfect next level up to the liners. And then open it halfway. And a lot of guys get a 1 around the side, so you're going to be doing this kind of blending often.
Which clippers are you using on that one?
The Andes Masters. Close them a little bit more to try and blend out this bottom line. You're going to have to develop a feel for that yourself. You're going to have to go little by little. And the best thing to do is to leave it more open than you think you should. That way you don't cut off too much hair. Because if you cut off too much hair, it's just gone. But if you didn't cut off enough hair, you still did it wrong, but now you have more hair to work with. Another mistake that people make often when they're doing the blending out the back is they go too high. The whole fade shouldn't go above this line. That's why it would be good for you to leave that there until you're done with this. The whole blend should be done before it hits up here. Right under. Also, if you can keep the lines straight across, like all your layers, all your lines just straight across the back of his head, that'll be great. But try and aim for making it more like a U shape, like the slightest U shape, so that you don't end up fading this up and then like this area would be darker down here, so it kind of looks like you did this. It'll happen to you if you're not paying attention too well. So if you can't keep it straight, then I recommend just going up on the sides just a tad, so that you can, it looks way better that way. And sometimes you change the angle of your clippers, cut sideways against the grain, cut directly against the grain. You're not really going to cut with the grain too often. That's usually for like black dudes, and that's when they have waves. And it takes so long to develop the waves because all the hair is going in the same direction because they had to brush it so much. They don't want you to go back against it with the clippers, so they'll ask you to go with the grain. But when you go with the grain, you're going to have to use a lower clip or guard because it doesn't cut off as much hair. This is my zero guard. I get the purple ones because they have magnets on them. It makes it much easier to attach and stay onto the blade, the blade. And so I'm just going to start with my smallest one right now and create a layer, about a ½ inch all the way around his head, following this guideline basically.
What size are you using for the blending?
This is the zero guard right now. Most popular ones on the market right now. Sorry. And I'm trying to blend it out. I like to go like midway, not all the way down to the bottom, even though I know I'm going to need to in a minute. But I just go in the middle anyway. And I'll try and do that side for you guys over there. Little midway thing. There's like two smaller guidelines that are softer. And then you just keep going in between that and in between that to blend it out.
Yeah.
Sorry for all of you. I'm blocking. Block everywhere. This is really, I'm not gonna lie, this is mad uncomfortable. I'm over here worrying about the shot. Like, I'm bending my body all kinds of ways and stuff. By the way, Asian hair is like the most difficult to work with, but like also the most dangerous, really, because it's like so straight and sharp. So I would recommend wearing gloves.
Which ones?
Asian hair,
Oh.
like this guy. You can get them with anybody that has straight hair. Usually, black hair won't do that because it's curled up, so it's not gonna pierce your skin like that. But like Asian's hair is like really strong and thick, but straight. So when you cut it at all different angles, so it sharpens up the point of the hair perfectly to go into your skin and just marinate there until you have some tweezers. So I would recommend just wearing gloves to prevent that. It may seem like there's no reason for me to have a comb because this hair is so short in this area, but it gets the hair that's cut but didn't move out of the way, it rakes that up. So that's why I keep combing down. I mean, you guys are all ladies except for one. And
How do you know that?
and you guys should have a soft touch anyway, but just make sure that you're not like digging into your client's scalp with your clippers because it doesn't feel nice.
What guard is that?
This is the number 1 guard. Open.
Okay.
The reason I do it open to create the first layer is because, you know, then I have some room to zoom it all out there.
Is it possible to skip a guard, like go from like 0 to 2 or?
You could do that, but you're gonna have a nice line in your thing. You know, that's like me skipping a guard right there. That's what would happen. That's the end of your haircut. The higher you go, you know, the less you're gonna have to use every guard, if that's what you're asking. Because when it's real low like this, you're gonna see everything. So I gotta blend out everything. But if it's like 5s and 6s and whatnot, you can probably go from like a 4 to a 6 pretty easily, and not have to even use a 5. That's why we don't have a 5 or 7 in our kits.
So did you close it at all?
I close it a little bit, like midway, and,
Okay.
and I'm kind of just adjusting it here and there to wherever I'm trying to focus on cutting. Turn your clippers off as much as possible when you're not using them. You know, if you're just going to take a step back to look at your cut, turn the clippers off. You know, if you just whatever reason you're not using them, just turn it off. Because the more you do that, the longer you can keep them cool, and that's pretty important.
You turn them off every time you do that?
Yeah, see, like they're off right now. And we gotta turn back on. Because a lot of, especially when you're just learning, you don't pay attention to that. So, just reminding you guys to turn them off as much as possible. And this is back down to my 0, because now that I blended the top out with the 1, it doesn't look the way I wanted it to, so I'm going to go back down with the 0 and just blend out whatever is necessary. I'm going to go up to my 2 and create another layer.
Open?
Open, yeah. And this should probably, this might be it. I don't know. Maybe have a clip.
Thank you.
No problem.
Follow about the first fading.
The initial cut, yeah.
I would do that, I just part the first section as I plan to fade, and 2 inch for each part for fading.
No, 2 inches is too much. You want about half an inch.
Half inch.
Yeah, every section that you do should be about half an inch. You want more and more layers in your haircut because that way the blend comes out better. Now I'm just going back and detailing basically. Trying to get any little spots that I don't feel blended right. Now we finna line him up. Yeah, so for lineups, you guys want to go with the natural line, but like that's very much to an extent because you're trying to make it perfect too. So going with his natural line, guessing how his sideburns would be. I'm gonna ask him anyway, but guessing how his sideburns would be, he's probably gonna want it flat because usually if you wanted it down to a point, it would come down to about the bottom of the ear. So otherwise it looks kind of funny. It looks like just short and just wrong. So what kind of sideburns do you want?
Yeah, go for the flat one.
Alright, cool. So yeah. And then we're gonna go up and over the ear. And I'm gonna go in here because this should be rounded more, you know? And not so much because a lot of you guys go with the real natural and it makes that go like into the haircut back here, and then your angles are wrong back here and it doesn't look right. So I like to go up and then emphasize like getting in here so that it's a strong arch and just looks better in the back. So I'm going to do this side over here. And then you don't have to go any which way in any particular order. It's whatever you choose. But in here, you're gonna try and get a nice arch. And this is where coming in, this is where looking at like and I'm paying attention to every little hair because just the more detail, the better. You know, looks real clean, looks better instead of if you just like went over it one time. It was like that. Use the corners back here, behind the ear, because you have to be aware of where the blade is going and what it's touching. And if you try to do like flat lines back here, you're gonna like cut just whole new lines that aren't supposed to be there into the ear. So just use the corners of the blade when you're behind the ear. And it's gonna, any tight area that you're in, just use the corner. This corner right here and the one on the other side match. This one. The one you just cut, and the other one have to be at the same height. Because it is noticeable and it does look really stupid if you do it wrong. Maybe an hour if they have a beard.
You blend out the beard too.
Yeah. I just want to check back here, make sure your angles match. So that's what it's supposed to look like.
So they have on the bottom hairline, you know how it can be different. Sometimes it's in a point. Would you flatten it? Would you make it square? Or would you keep that sometimes?
Well, if you faded it out, well, there's nothing to do. But if you wanted it, you know, some length back here and you wanted to put a line, there's like just two options. Either you can make it square or round. And square would just be, yeah, that, like, continue down here and then create a flat line right about here, like, at a pretty low point. Some men are real hairy, so that's why you have to, like, know what you're looking for, because then it'll just look like I could put it down here if I wanted to. But it should be about here. And if you wanted it rounded, then you're going to just do that same thing, but you're going to round out the corners like this. And then take about all that off. And then just, because you don't want it, this whole thing to like be like a scoop, you know?
Right.
You just want it, the corners rounded off. That's all that round means. Not completely round. I'm going to do the razor, even though cosmetologists don't do that. I'm going to show you anyway. I usually brush them off really good because you're about to spray them with water, and the hair sticks to the skin after that with water. It's irritating. She asked me over here, since cosmetologists can't use a razor, what would be your best option? And that's why you need a really good pair. And I would definitely recommend these, the Andes outliners, or the Andes T outliners, which is just a T-shaped blade. It's a little bit longer on the sides. They're both really good for this type of job. You would want that because as a cosmetologist, just make sure you have some really good lineup clippers. Because I could leave them alone right now and it would still be a good job. You know, it's pretty clean, but I just want to make it as clean as possible, so I use the razor. And a good alternative, I'm not even going to use it today, but that's why I brought it, is these. Like all the barbers never actually have it to show you guys. This is what it looks like. It's called the 5-star. It's by Wall. It gets just about as close as the razor. Only thing you have to do is you would have to shave it down first, because if the hair is too long, it won't go into these little holes on the foils, and it can't be cut. But as long as you like shave it down, yeah, use your like lineup clippers or whatever, shave it down, make sure it's bald. For like a beard or something, if a man doesn't want you to use the razor on his skin, that's a perfect alternative. And it gets like just about as close as the razor, so you can get away with a lot just using that thing. Here this goes. If I put conditioner in the water, it would be too slippery, and I couldn't use my thumb to like pull their skin. And it's important to stretch the skin when you're shaving. So just use water, or I would recommend just using water. And then you always want to keep your razor at like, you know, further down of an angle, you know, instead of, you know, like this, where you can just be pulling and ripping and scraping the skin. So just keep it as
Or
close
laying
as,
down.
yeah, keep it laying down. And that's fine, but the way I learned is to shave like myself, either like a leg or an arm or whatever, just to get a feel of how much pressure I should be using before it hurts or before I feel like I'm scraping off skin or whatever. And you know exactly how much pressure, but like it's kind of common sense. Like you're gonna feel like you're scraping the hell out of somebody if that's what you're doing. But it's like you kind of want to just use the weight of the utensil you're using. Like if it was all metal, that would be better. Yeah, just use the weight of that because it's really not much pressure you're supposed to put on this thing. Yeah, so the way I do my haircut is the way my mom taught me, actually. You're going to take the guide from the front, so you're going to just take up a little piece, just a little thin section. I don't waste my time like parting it out perfectly, it doesn't matter. And then you're going to pick a spot, it could be down here, depends on how much they want off. But now you have that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to I'm going to bring all the hair to the center, pick it up, and then I'm going to cut it back going this way. But, oh, that's what I was going to say. You never really stop learning, especially if you started learning from teaching yourself. So I learned something, you know, as recently as the last time there was that barber that came here, and he taught us to, especially on a cut like this, you know, cut longer in the front, but like a slightly shorter in the back, you know, like work your way down in the back. And I've been using that in my haircuts, and I've been liking it a lot more. So you learn all the time. Never think. I bought a barber DVD the other day that was $60 that I didn't learn anything off of, but it was worth it to see if I could learn something else. So just always try and learn something new. This will probably be easier for you guys because your hands are hopefully smaller than mine. So your fingers won't get in the way so much for lower length haircuts like this. So, yeah.
So you're cutting it at a 90?
Not really. I'm cutting it straight up from the back of his head. And then I'm trying to make it like, do like that. So like I told you, I can't really explain it perfectly. Just, it's longer, way longer in the front than it is back here, you know?
So good.
Alright, so after that's done, you're going to go from the side and try and connect with whatever it is you did with the clippers to whatever it is on top. And like I said, for short lengths like this, it'd be better if I had smaller fingers, but I don't. I just have to be real careful and go straight up. You're trying to create a straight line, but at like the slightest angle this way because of the next thing, the next step that you're going to do. But I'll show you that in a minute.
Is that the side you're burning on?
I'm going to pick one later, whichever one he wants.
Does it make a difference the way that you cut, which part they said, which side they burn?
It depends on how you cut. The way I cut is I try and make it so that it doesn't matter what side you do it on until the very end when he decides which side he actually wants the part on. But some barbers, like the last dude, had a technique where he did it cut the whole thing from parting it one way. And you can do it either way. It's just, you know, I would have had to do it eventually. I have to do it after this, though. The way he does it, he just does it in the beginning. The scissors from school aren't that bad. I'm just saying, I'm using the scissors from school. So, not that bad. I like my hand starts cramping up if I go all the way around the head, but try and bend myself this way or whatever. So I just do it backwards this way. So whatever makes you comfortable. You're going to take the guide that you created in the center all the way back and try and connect it with the guide that you created cutting the hair up this way.
Oh, so you're actually cutting the hair like here.
Yeah, I just want to use the thinning shears to add texture. So that it's not such a perfect line. You which part of it? This side, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Are you just touching it down and not really moving up and down?
Not too much because I'm gonna go over it with the razor right now, and I'm gonna open it up a little bit more with that. But you're gonna want to go not from the corner, but like just like maybe a 1/4 inch over, and then back to about here. It kind of gets like going into the cowlick or whatever. So, and then I'm gonna go over it with the razor. Just make it look extra sharp, but widen it up a little bit. And that's pretty much that.
Looks
Yeah, that
great.
was
That's
awesome.
not trimming.
That's a great day.
Sorry.
Smooth.
Good job.